I just dedicated myself to learning how to make stuff. And I thought, I could host these videos. I could write these scripts. Why not me? I just kept going. And when you just keep doing something, if you like it a lot and you care, you're gonna get better. This is gonna sound crazy, but within the last few months, something has like unlocked for me in the edit. It's all like a feeling, and the edit is the most important part of creating that feeling, obviously. It's my thumbprint on my work. I'm so in love with it. So when I started at The Verge, I was working at like the gear closet at Vox Media. So I was fixing cameras and lenses and tripods, mostly tripods, and giving them to folks who worked at Vox Media who were filming things. And all I wanted to do was to be filming stuff. I was so sick of literally working in a closet, servicing gear that I wanted to use. So I just started networking hard. And at the time, Vox Media had many different verticals or brands or websites, whatever you want to call them. As life would have it, someone from The Verge was like, hey, we're hiring. And I just dove in. I threw my whole self into it. Every little bit was a learning process, but I was for so long, I wanted so badly to be making stuff that I just dedicated myself to learning how to make stuff. And there came a point when I got pretty good at shooting and editing. And there was, at The Verge, we were working with many reporters. And reporters, their core job was to write articles. And so when they got tasked with making a video, it wasn't exactly their like most favorite thing to do, I would say, for a lot of them. And I thought, I could host these videos. I could write these scripts. Why not me? I know a lot about tech at this point. I've been making videos about tech for a few years. Why not me? And so I started with, first I made a video about like AI and its like integration in Google Home products. And then I made a video about a camera, which felt very natural. And those videos are terrible. Like I go back and I watch them and it is like cringe fest times 100, but I just kept going. And when you just keep doing something, if you like it a lot and you care, you're gonna get better. And I think that's what happened. And my voice, much like how I review a product, like my voice just kind of like came out of me, my voice found me. I didn't find it. And I feel very lucky about that.
And Becca, you've just celebrated your year anniversary going solo on YouTube. Can you tell us a little bit about how the past year has been? Because I can imagine that's quite a scary jump from, working at The Verge for 7 or so years and now you're going solo. How has it been?
It has been 100% worth it. I'm making more money. I have more creative freedom. I am just generally happier, but I have also never worked so hard for anything in my life. I think I took my very first 2 consecutive days off last week in a whole year. I just work all of the time because I love it, but I also care so deeply. So, pros and cons. The good days are 200% better, bad days are 200% worse, but overall I'm so much happier and more fulfilled.
What does a normal day look like for you? How much production, how much editing, how much script writing? I should say, what does a normal week look like?
So the first 2 days I start reviewing a product. I just get using it. And then by day 3, I'm into the script. The very first thing I have at the top of my script is title ideas, because the title is everything for a YouTube video. It's, it's the billboard, it's the ad, it's the question that you want folks to like have and need an answer to. So I always start with at least 5 to 10 title ideas, and then I work off that title in my script. And I always make sure I'm coming back to that title. Underneath the title ideas is the description, because I find when I write a description, it helps me focus on what I want the whole video to be. Like, let me condense this video into 3 sentences. And then below that is thumbnail ideas, because again, on YouTube, that's your billboard. And then I have the script. So I'm kind of working from title down always.
That's a really great tip. Because I don't think about that till the end, but you're thinking about it really early and being able to integrate those ideas into your actual video.
This process is not one that I adapted too quickly. Like, this is something they used to make us do at The Verge, and I hate it because I was like, just let me get creative. Let me play in the sandbox, and then I'll come back to you with my title. But it proved that, folks know better than me, and it really helps to actually have your theme out first.
Can you just talk us through like how what angle to take? Like if you get a new product come in the post, you spend a few days reviewing it. How do you know whether to take a positive angle, negative angle? Do you look at one feature? Like how do you know what's going to hook your audience as a YouTube creator?
My voice is like the most important thing to me, and when I'm using something, like a product will just kind of speak to me. It'll tell me what is the most prominent feature, and then that's what I like to bring to my audience. And I like to think that my audience comes to me because they just want to hear what I have to say about something. So for example, this is like a cheap disposable camera that I adore. And as I'm using it, there's a million things that will come to mind. Oh, I like this button. The film keeps getting stuck. I should talk about that. But there's usually some sort of theme that starts to emerge as I'm using it. And for a camera like this, I made a video about this. It was all about just like the fun of this camera, the carefree nature of this camera. And so that's where I started to like angle my story and dissect what makes it fun. How do I feel fun? How does fun look like in my life? And then how does this camera capture fun?
Yeah. I mean, what I like about it is that you're trusting your own views, your own instincts, your own self. And I mean, I can equate it to software design because we have like hundreds of requests for different features. And I'm like, I just know when something feels right to me. And then I check it, of course, with in my case, we have to usability check it with all of the people that we can to it's not about me, but I do rely on that sense to know. It's like your guiding light.
Voice is so important. You could look up anything on Gemini or ChatGPT and they'll give you a basic overview. And so I think coming at it with your own perspective in your life is paramount and something that, you can't find anywhere else. So throughout this whole process, I just film myself using products naturally. And so I have like a pretty good base of like footage and B-roll and all that sort of stuff. And I have like the makings of a script. And then I just start recording VO and I just start placing footage and music and sound effects. And that's when I get really excited because that's when I start to see the vision. So then I just start editing. I know that sounds crazy, but and a lot of times I'm shooting for the edit at this point. So I'll spend a solid like day or half a day just in the edit playing, kind of like thinking about, oh, I should get a shot of this, I should do a shot of that. And then I start shooting and putting that in, and it gets really messy and unformulaic. It is just kind of a disaster. I'll start working on the end and the beginning and the middle, and then there'll come this like part where I'm explaining something, but I don't know how to film for it. So then I'll start getting creative with like screenshotting stuff and screen recording stuff. And I'm just playing, throwing stuff at the wall, seeing what sticks. I'm listening to different music. I use Epidemic Sound, which I truly adore. And so I'll go in there and I'll just start listening to music and seeing what beats inspire me or what funky sound effects. And it's again part of like the messy part of the process for me is sometimes like I just have that sort of like brain where it's like I ping pong to like many different things, but I've learned if I just like let myself ping pong, I usually like can work well. So I'll be editing and I'll see something and make a good thumb and I'm like, ooh, I'm really inspired by this right now. And so then I export it and sometimes I'll just start working on it right then and there because I'm feeling inspired in that moment to do that.
That's exactly the way I work as well. No matter what I'm doing, I bounce from thing to thing. I might do 50 things in a day and none of them get done, but I do make progress, and it's just the way my brain works. Like I have to be inspired all day long. I'm inspired to do the spreadsheet. It can be something boring, but like right now, that's what I want to do, and that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm the same way. Something funny now that I'm much more in the creator world than the journalism world is I get to meet and talk to so many creators. And I was surprised to learn how different everybody is. Like, everyone has a different work style, has a different team, has a different way they edit. It is wildly different, despite all of us maybe doing tech content. And I found that very cool. There is every sort of person in the YouTube community. When I really get stuck, I just go start watching YouTube. I watch YouTube videos that I've loved for a long time. I have a bunch of saved videos that I find a lot of inspiration in. I'll go watch those, kind of see how other folks are telling stories and see what I can bring into my storytelling. But yeah, it just gets really messy. And then at some point, a deadline starts approaching and a fire gets lit underneath me, and I get serious and I get a little more organized and finish it up.
I can imagine sometimes it turns out completely differently to how you might have visioned it when you were writing the script.
Oh yeah, and there's a couple of like tough moments in there too. Like there's sometimes I'll spend like 2 hours on a scene and I'll be like really loving it, and then I'll realize that it doesn't fit my title that I created. Like it just doesn't. Like I just got creative because I was having fun with it, but it doesn't actually work. And then comes the moment where like I make a separate sequence with that in it, but it's really a graveyard. But I'm too afraid to actually delete it.
We call it killing your darlings.
Yes, it's painful. It never gets easier.
I think that people will be surprised to know how involved you are with the edit, because we often hear, well, real YouTubers, they just have their own, they hire an editor or whatever. For me, I can't even imagine, having had the joy and the process of editing in my life for so long, I can't imagine hiring someone else to do it, because I would lose so much control of the story, and I would also lose the joy of doing that. What do you think about that?
For me, like an edit, a video, it's all like a feeling, and the edit is the most important part of creating that feeling. Obviously, it's my thumbprint on my work. It's my signature in the bottom corner of a painting. I never in a million years thought I was going to be an editor. Like when I was at film school, I never edited anything. I always had my editor friends do it. It just seems so tedious, and like sitting at a desk, who wants to do that?
Do you remember that moment when you fell in love with editing?
It definitely wasn't a precise moment. And even when I first started at The Verge, I hated it. And then there was like a long time at The Verge where I was like, oh, I can't wait to not do this. But I would say this is going to sound crazy, but within the last few months, something has like unlocked for me in the edit. I feel more confident in the edit than I ever have before. I feel like I'm having more fun in the edit than ever before. And I haven't quite put my finger on like what it is, but lately I just feel like I finally know where all of my tools are. I know how to break the rules because I know the rules. And it just feels really good. And I know that's like super heady. There's nothing concrete about what I just said, but it just is a feeling. I'm so in love with it.
Well, I actually think it is very useful to hear, because I've always said to people learning to edit, like you can't experience the joy of that until you actually know your tool. It doesn't matter if it's LumaFusion or Premiere or Final Cut or DaVinci Resolve. It's like, know your tool inside and out, so that you can use it as your language. It's like words, but the feeling behind it can just come from you and come right out through the tools of your edit system. So I totally think you can get to this point where it's almost like you want something to happen, and it's already happening under your fingertips as you want it. Where, as if you're stopping to go, how do I do this thing, or what did I do wrong here? It just ruins the creative process.
Yeah, it's a flow. So I made a video where I attempted to do my entire process from a phone, and I used LumaFusion. And when I did it, I made this massive mistake of trying to make my phone a computer. Like I hooked up a keyboard to it and a mouse and a big monitor, and then I used LumaFusion, and I like hit a lot of roadblocks because in my mind, an edit is a dark room with a big screen and all of this gear. But all of a sudden, everything changed when I unplugged all of that, and I just started using LumaFusion on the phone as it's meant to be, like with a finger, like a single finger. I have been using this program and this phone all wrong. And I must admit, like I was really, and this is not an ad for LumaFusion. I go watch the video. It's like it's really not, but I truly was really impressed with how well it works when you use it mobile first. The problem is I am so stuck in my desktop style that mobile editing is really hard for me. It's like we're talking about confidence. I just don't have the confidence there.
when I started editing, I was using something called EMC, which was like you edited on an optical disc. Then I moved to Lightworks. Then I moved to Avid. Then I moved to Final Cut 7, and then Final Cut 10, and then Liquid. I forgot Liquid was in there somewhere, and which was a fast product, and now LumaFusion. And so, like every one of those edit systems, I got to this point where I loved it, you know. And so it's not about, to me, it's not about which edit system is better. It's about just being able to connect to your story through whatever tools you have. And for some people, yeah, they may not have anything but their phone, and that is absolutely okay. Your story is still going to come out through the tools that you have there. So,
Yes, yes. Yeah, totally.
what are your hopes for the future you?
You know, I right before I left this Verge, I had a series about creators where I got to go hang out with a creator for a day and learn how they did what they did. And secretly, I knew I was leaving the Verge, and it was like a secret way to go learn from people. But it was also just because I really admired all these folks, and I just wanted to know them and saw how they did what they do. And all of them would say this thing to me. They'd be like, when I would ask about the future, they would say, you know, I just hope it doesn't come crashing down. Sometimes I feel like next month, if the money doesn't come in, like there it goes. And I was always like, that's so silly. Like that's not going to happen. And now I feel that. I am having so much fun. I love what I do so much. And now I'm like, what if it just comes crashing down? And so my hope is that I can build something sustainable. I can get to a point where I don't have that fear every week or every month. That's my big hope. But above all else, I just hope to inspire somebody somewhere to make something and to go talk to people and go see the world. I hope to just spread like this much joy in a world that is like filled with so much shit, for a lack of a different word.
Yes. That's a great sentiment right there. And we appreciate you coming and talking to us today. It was
It's a
really
pleasure.
like I love to hear your insights on how much effort you put into your stories, your even to your titles, your descriptions, your stories, your editing, and how involved you are in your story. And that's just amazing
This
to
is my
me.
baby. Come on.